All right, hello everyone. Sorry about that. We were having a bit of technical difficulties earlier, so we should have gotten everything situated. If you are having any issues, please feel free to let me know. You can reach out via Facebook. Right now, I do have it live in front of me. So as you ask questions, we will, or I will try to respond to them directly. We did have, I did go into a little bit of topics in regards to property taxes. So I will just go quickly recap everything I just said just a few minutes ago, which was not recorded evidently. It did not go live to everyone. So property tax bills have been going out, and this is the first week to actually make your property tax payment. I've had an individual within North Chicago that's reached out to me complaining about the increase in property taxes. This individual brought up a $600 tax bill. I've had someone in Waukegan bring up about a $400 increase, and then I had someone also in North Chicago to bring to me about a $1,400 increase. So this is widespread. It's not just your house or your community that's facing that increase. Whether if you live in Park City, Gurnee, Lake Bluff, North Chicago, or even Waukegan within the district. That's unfortunately that's what we're faced with, and that's due to the fact that we have your school district, your park district, your libraries, your cities, sanitary districts, townships. They all have a part to play in that, and as they vote every year to levy taxes, they can either keep it at a flat rate or not increase it over the previous year, or they can choose to increase it. Last year, the county did increase property taxes 2.1%, which I did vote against. And then this coming year, we are actually planning not to increase property tax, so we will have a flat levy. The only question now is if your property taxes are going to go up the next year to see is what your city, your parks, your schools, what they're going to do. If they increase it, you will see an increase even if the county freezes their portion of the tax bill. So next item I wanted to go over real quick is actually about an upcoming event. We have Juneteenth Conference and Festival. It's going to be held in Bowen Park here in Waukegan, Illinois. It's going to be June 16th, which is next Saturday, from noon to 6 p.m. And this is where you're going to be able to learn about rebuilding, restoring, and healing our community together. You'll learn about what Juneteenth is for the community as a whole, and how you can actually help build our community and move it forward. So I just want to do a quick plug there, and then move on into some more topics. So the first topic that I wanted to talk about is sanctuary gun counties legislation, which we had an individual at the May county board meeting that came up and actually yelled at us in regards to saying that we were trying to take their guns away. We have no authority to take guns away, and that individual brought up the idea of us passing a sanctuary gun legislation. What this legislation or resolution, as it can be referred to in some counties, what it would do is it will require us to, or will negate the sheriff to pretty much enforce gun laws that the state or federal government passes, because we don't feel that it's constitutional, in so many words. So that's really the best way to describe that type of legislation. We do not have, at the county board, since we're a non-home rule county, we do not have the authority to regulate guns in any shape or form, so we cannot do an assault weapons ban. We don't have that authority. And also, if we were a home rule county, similar to Cook County, we would have had only 10 days to do it. And that was back in 2012-2013 time period when the Illinois General Assembly passed a concealed carry bill. Since that time has passed, we have no authority to do something similar to Deerfield, which is something that a member of the county board did bring up. But if in the future there was a possibility that the state gives more flexibility to the county, then that's something that we can address. But as of right now, we need to stay focused on our state reps and state senators and make sure that they're passing laws that either that respect, Second Amendment, but also serve to protect us as a community. Next thing I'm going to move on to is our county board members, countywide elected officials, and our county board chairman salaries, which many people saw my Facebook post in regards to it. We did have 3 pieces of legislation that I voted against. The first one actually increased countywide elected officials by 2.5%. And what it would do, I'll point out as an example of the county treasurer. Currently our county treasurer is paid more than Cook County's treasurer, when we are the 3rd largest, and Cook County happens to be the number 1 largest county. With this increase, it also would pay the treasurer about $1,366 less than our state treasurer. To me, that didn't make sense, which is why I voted against the countywide elected officials' salary, along with the fact that a number of those individuals, for instance, the sheriff's office and the state's attorney's office, or state sheriff and state's attorney, make more than their counterparts at the state level. To me, that didn't make sense, which is why I voted against that particular piece of legislation at the county board. And then we also have our county board chairman salary. Our county board chairman compared to our collar counties, so that's DePage, Will County, McHenry, Cook. I'm blanking on another one right off the top of my head, but out of the other collar counties, our county board chairman is paid less. The difference between our county board chairman and a lot of the other ones are our county board chairman is not elected at large. Say Cook County, there's a Cook County board president. In DePage County, there's a Cook County board chairman that's elected at large, so all the residents in Lake County can elect them, similar to our sheriff, our county treasurer, or the assessor or recorder of deeds, or something, or not the assessor, but the recorder of deeds, or the county clerk's office, or county clerk. So I did vote against it because I didn't feel that, with us having a tax increase of 2.1%, it didn't make sense for us to turn around and vote for another tax or increase in salary there. And the same went to our board member salary. Currently, the Lake County Board is the 3rd most paid county board members in the state of Illinois. We make, with this increase, it would brought us up to almost $49,000 a year for a part-time position. To me, that wouldn't make sense at all. One, I think that is kind of high, overpaid in a sense for a part-time position. When you have, I could take my mayor as our mayors that represent us in this district. Out of all 5 of them, I would make, if it was considered a full-time position, doubling our salary would make more than 4 out of the 5 that are in our district. So that's including Lake Bluff, North Chicago, Park City, and Gurnee Mayor. And 2 of those mayors are full-time positions as well. And even with some of the increases that they've had over the previous few years, I would still make more as a county commissioner. To me, it didn't make sense. So I did vote against it, even for the county board members. Originally, it was only a 2-year increase out of 4, and I made a motion to reconsider, and we froze the salary. So we were able to pass that with 13-7 vote. Pretty much all of them passed 13-7 vote for the most part. So we were able to establish, a sense of direction that we are not going to increase property taxes and then turn around and increase our salaries. It's not fair to the residents that pay property taxes, especially with individuals that are getting $600 increase. It doesn't make sense for us to put in our pocket. I felt that it would be more advantageous to put it towards programs in the county. For instance, jail diversion would be a great option for us to actually put more money into versus put it in our pockets in a sense. The next topic I wanted to bring up, if no one else has any questions, I'm still waiting for a few questions still. Is the 14th Street project that we have, the 14th Street, as many individuals that's in North Chicago, Waukegan, or borders North Chicago, Waukegan. There's actually a plan to actually complete that road in 2019. So originally it was going to be completed in 2017, but due to the fact that we've had the Marion Jones project or Regency or Renaissance at Coles Park, that project has been pushed it's going to be completed next year. That includes the brand new park that is going to be built for Falls Park District, along with the senior facility and all the townhomes. The 14th Street project was pushed off to 2019, so a lot of preliminary work has been started, and we're going to continue to start doing some more work next year. So you're going to start seeing more of the road being torn up and actually start being repaired. Also with that, there will be a bike trail, bike/walking trail that will connect from Green Bay Road, right across the street from Pulaski, all the way down to the McClory bike path that you can actually go north to Zion or south all the way up to Chicago. Many individuals have complained about the grass along 14th Street. I've been working with the Department of Transportation at the county to see about getting that property cut. It is not currently, it is on Forest Preserve property, but there is a right-of-way use between the county and the Forest Preserve, which is why we're going through the Department of Transportation. It's kind of like a jurisdiction nightmare, and we're trying to get everything situated so we can actually get that area cleaned up for the residents of the 14th District. The next item, which is the Route 53. Route 53, for many of you that don't know about Route 53, currently it's a highway that stops at Lake Cook Road. So once it gets to Lake County, it splits off and goes either east or west. The traffic goes east or west down Lake Cook Road. The plan is, or has been for many years, before I was even born, was to extend Route 53 all the way up to Wisconsin. So what they have done, since they don't have the money for it, they've decided to, and Lake County has said, many residents in Lake County and even county board members have said no to the Route 53 expansion plan. They've decided to reintroduce it as called the TriCounty Access Initiative, in so many words. And what it will do is will include Northern Cook County, it will include McHenry County, and also Kenosha County. And they've, in a sense, have expanded the scope to those other counties outside of Lake County in order to try to ram it through the Tollway Board. Lake County has yet to get a new appointment on the Illinois Tollway Board that's going to actually fight for us. So what this project, for many people that may not know about it, what they're going to do is they're going to increase all of the tolls. So if you drive on 294 like I do on a regular basis, you will be paying more. Even if you ride on no tollways at all, so if you don't ride on 294, you just take traditional city roads, you're going to be paying more in gas taxes. So you'll see your gas bill go up 5 to 10 cents, depending on what the agreed amount will be, just to pay for this road, and you will never see any of that money to come back to our community to fix our roads. I'm pretty sure most people that drive on 14th Street would rather see that money spent there at 14th Street, or if you live on Adams in North Chicago, you would love to see that street repaired. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of city streets throughout Lake County, in the 14th District specifically. Many people would like to see those funds spent towards instead of going to a project that we will never see. So they've in a sense tried to make it more palatable for people to vote on it and change the name around, since so many people have become opposed to Route 53. By rebranding it, that's their way or approach the Illinois Tollway to actually get it approved. There are supposed to be meetings coming up. I'm looking at, we'll be having a link to the Tollway's website in the actual event later on, along with an article explaining how they're rebranding it into this Tri-County Access project. The next topic, since I still see I don't have any questions yet, you guys are taking a little bit longer than normal this time, is our courthouse expansion. Many people have complained about Washington Street between County and Milwaukee, or between County and Genesee Street being closed. It will be reopened. I'm sorry, County and Milwaukee, MLK Drive in Waukegan. That will be opened in July of 2018, or July 17th of 2018. The courthouse will be opening, and we will be having a ribbon cutting that day as well. And all the courts will start to move over to the Justice Tower and then everyone you'll start to move out of the current courts and move into the new ones, and then there'll be some new enhancements at the county building in the current courts. So that's something that is to be looking forward to. Now, it was a $120 million project that's finally being completed, along with the $40 million project over in next to Foss Park, Coles Park, and next to Foss Park in First Baptist Church, Regency at Coles Park. We also, this morning, we had Health and Human Services Committee of the County Board met, and we did approve the home grant along with CDBG funding for the city of North Chicago and the city of Waukegan. So a lot of different programs and grants are going to be made available to residents in North Chicago, Waukegan, along with Park City. Those grants have been approved at the last county board meeting, and we're looking forward to bringing more money into the community. Also today, the Lake County Government Reform Implementation Committee met, and we were discussing our Independent Advisory Commission on Redistricting. It's a chart. What we're in a sense doing, we're creating a new commission that will oversee or advise the county board on how we redistrict going forward. Many people have had issues the way that the county board redistricting happened last time, where you had individuals redrawn into the same district, and they would have had to run against each other. So what this commission's goal is to, in a sense, is to be a check on the county board and try to make sure that they comply with guidelines for fair maps. That is something that I'm looking forward to, and we are working out a lot of the inner working details of it. So what we're looking at doing is, in a sense, precluding anyone that is an elected official from the county or an employee of the county, someone that would have an interest in getting the lines drawn a certain particular way. We did bring up partisanship, so that'd be the Democratic and Republican Party, and also third party, involvement. What my suggestion was to have it weighted. So if we have one Democrat, we would have one Republican, or if we had 10 or 5 Democrats or 5 Republicans, that would be fair across the board. So that way, no one party can actually take control and actually get the map drawn in the way that they would want to have it drawn. Also, in that project, we were also looking at some of the other things that they're going to be going over, being responsible for, is to make sure that they serve, that they take into account demographic, socioeconomic, geographic, and political characteristics of each community. Also trying to make sure that communities stay together. For example, I have all of Park City within the district. North Chicago, as an example, which is the largest chunk of the district, is split currently between 3 county board districts. But the goal is to keep districts more focused in 1 or 2 districts versus having them split up, where if you live on one side of town or if you live on this street, you're going to be in a different district. That's the goal of this particular redistricting. One of the goals for this redistricting commission, and also to make it more fair, so that politicians are not going to be actually selecting their voters and allowing the voters to select their elected officials. So that's something that I think that we should really be pushing forward towards, and that's something that hopefully we will get past the county board in the next coming months, along with looking at other possible reforms as well for county government. There has been discussion about consolidating some positions. One was the county clerk with the recorder of deeds position. There was discussion previously in the previous commission that the county had or ad hoc commission that they had devised was referring to consolidating county clerk and the recorder of deeds, or the circuit court clerk, or the treasurer's position. So these things are right now are just being talked about, and we're going to be looking at those in the next coming months, once we finish the new charter for this new independent advisory commission. Another big thing that you've probably seen in the newspapers is in regards to Representative Yingling's bill. His bill would actually, I don't have the bill number in front of me, but his bill would actually look to remove the appointed county assessor over to an elected county assessor. So I will be meeting with or talking to Representative Yingling on the phone to figure out how would this benefit the county as a whole. I know that the biggest concern that I've seen from on his end has been the fact that our county board chairman is not elected at large and is elected by a vote of the county board. But my biggest question is, has it worked in Cook County? We've seen what has happened in Cook County where the assessor's office has been able to give people sweetheart deals in a sense in their assessment and keeping their assessment low, where those tax burdens are now going to be shifted to people that don't have influence. So that's one of my biggest concerns that I have with it. There's also, what are we going to do now with our township assessors? We have elected township assessors that should, that have a job, that they're currently doing the job. Their issue currently has been the fact that an appointed assessor at the county level is telling them what to do or changing their assessment based on some type of science or math or some type of or something that they've been more technical on the internal side of the county. So that's really where we stand in regards to that. I know the county board's legislative committee has come out against it, and personally I do oppose it due to that fact. So I do want to see if there's anyone else has any questions. Still don't see any just yet. Let's see.
Joe Bajobani.
Let me see. I don't see it online.
What is your opinion on township consolidation?
Township consolidation. A lot of people. There's been a lot of talk about township consolidation. I live in Shields Township. Shields Township does not provide the same amount of services Waukegan Township has. Waukegan Township, I would not be in favor of consolidating that government agency for the simple fact that there's not going to be enough savings with the amount of benefit that they provide to the community. I think personally, the best option to consolidate government is school districts. We have 52 different school districts in Lake County, 52 different superintendents with the exclusion, or I should say 51 now, because you have Lake Bluff, Lake Forest they share one superintendent. So you have all these different layers of government right there at the school district level. You have 300 and something school board members throughout the county as alone, and that's the largest share of your tax bill. That's 60 to 70% of your tax bill, depending on your community. I think that is a much better approach versus going after 1 or 2% of your tax bill. I understand why everyone wants to go after townships because they see them as that those services can be rolled into the city or rolled into the county. That is true that they could, but how much is it really going to save us? Why would we spend so much money in that respect versus taking out the big elephant in the room? Again, like I said, each township is different. What works here in Lake or on the east side of the county may not work in the western portion of the county. I know in the western part of the county, the townships are much more prevalent, do a lot more for residents than here on the eastern side in the North Chicago, Waukegan, Park City area. Again, Waukegan Township does offer a lot more services for seniors, along with even the Waukegan Township scholarship, which I received when I graduated from high school. So there's a lot of different services that are available. So I don't have anything else on my end. Do you have anything? Okay. So we're going to call it early, I guess, then today. Unfortunately, not a lot of people had questions. If you do have any more questions, okay, I do see some questions coming in now. Okay. So we'll start off with Joe's again. How can the county residents oppose the TriCounty Tow Expansion on the local level. So one thing that we can do is put pressure on our aldermen along with our county board members. Right now I've been working with a few of my county board members to try to get a resolution passed by the county board to say that we oppose it, along with trying to get a lot of the local cities, so mostly the cities that have come out opposed to it, mayors and city council members that have come out opposed to it, are the communities where this road is going to take up parts of their town, and they're going to be forced to lose how much money they get via gas taxes as well. So I see that. So that's the main thing. Also, you can always reach out to your county commissioner. So if you live in 14th district, you already know my opinion. If you live in one of the other county board districts, best thing to do is just call them and ask them, or send them an email saying what's your stance on it. We're looking to hopefully get that a resolution passed by the county board before the end of the year. So that way we can figure out who's in favor and who's against it, and making sure that we get this toll expansion dead. Make sure we kill it. The next person is Robert O'Brien. Said, what's new coming toward us, and how are you to help us? Just tuning in. And then he also said, when do you go live? I may let others know to join. So I go live quarterly. So this is one of three more that are going to be for this year. Those are also on my Facebook, so you can actually get those dates on there. You can also share this one as well. I will be following up with more questions. As people ask questions later on, even though we've concluded, I'll still try to follow up with them as well. But some of the things, just to recap what we went over earlier, we talked about the sanctuary gun county legislation. That's something that the county board has no authority to. Well, we're not going to take a stance on sanctuary gun counties, but in regards to regulating assault weapons, we have no authority to do so. The countywide or salary increases for countywide elected officials, chairman of the county board, and the board members, I voted against it. The countywide chairman, those two were approved. The county board members, we voted it down and then we froze them for 4 years. 14th Street, there's going to be a brand new trail along 14th Street, along with the remodelization of that entire road from Jackson all the way up to Green Bay Road. And also in the meantime, to help deal with some of the congestion and also dealing with people walking in the street, we're going to be looking at cutting the grass along the side of that. That will also help beautify that area and that corridor. And again, I've already discussed the TriCounty access again, and that's the Route 53 expansion, making sure that people are aware of that this is the new way they're trying to sell it and trying to force it through Lake County. And then also our court expansion will be opening in July 17th, next month this year. And then also about the Independent Redistricting Commission, a lot of individuals have brought up, that politicians have, in a sense, appointed their own, or they choose their own voters, and making sure that that stops, and making sure that we have an independent advisory board or commission that will actually make sure that guide us in the right direction, so we're not doing things based on a partisan direction and in a sense saying, hey, this actually follows the Fair Map Initiative. And the other big thing for North Chicago, Waukegan, and Park City residents, and also Gurnee. We haven't voted on the Gurnee one yet, but it's to make sure we get CDBG funding coming in for projects locally. In North Chicago, the old Hart School with the home grants, that's going to be transformed. Portion of it's going to be senior housing, and the other portion is going to be a community center. Right there in the center of the community, or the heart of the community. Those are just some of the things that have come down. We're going to start to go into budget session for the county within the next 2 or 3 months. So trying to make sure I can get some projects in there to make sure those get funded. I won't be there after November 30th, but that is something I'm working on. Robert also said, what can we do about the high gas? I'm assuming gasoline, like purchasing gas, not like North Shore gas here in North Chicago, Waukegan. I just came through Libertyville and Grace Lake. So each individual, so there's a county set motor fuel tax. That's a quarter of a cent. So 3/4 of a cent. It goes to the county. And then each individual city can set their own gas tax along with the federal and the state. They all have portions of the taxes that we pay on the gases. So that's why you may find in one community it's more in, say, North Chicago, Waukegan versus, say, Lake Bluff or Lincolnshire. The other contributing factors to that is the amount of roads that they have to maintain, along with the amount of roads that they, so the amount of roads they maintain, the more money, the more share of the money that they're going to get. That's how it works for local municipalities. That is something that the city councils, so both North Chicago and Waukegan, as an example, they set their gas tax. The county board has no authority to make them lowered, in a sense. But that is something that should be done. I do believe. I know personally that I use Gas Buddy, which is an app to find the cheapest gas. Sometimes that's within North Chicago or within the 14th district. Sometimes that's outside of that. It all depends on where I'm at that particular point in time. But a lot of those, it's just like with your cell phone tax. There's a cell phone tax, or if you have an iPad or Comcast. All those taxes are set by your local municipality. The county does get, in some respects, get some portions of that, but it's not a large share of it. It's very minimal. Most of what the county gets is in unincorporated areas. That's where we make the majority of our money up in regards to those taxes. So gas tax, the cell phone tax, the Comcast fees, and all the taxes that you pay. So a lot of those reasons, if you're upset, well, why I have to pay, one side of town where I'm paying, 30 cent more versus this side of town, a lot of it is really at the fault of your city council members, and those are the ones that you need to follow up with and try to get those things, addressed. Does anyone else have any other questions before we call it a day? Or night, I should say, evening. It's not really nighttime yet, but close enough, I guess you could say. Don't see any more coming in. So I want to thank you all again for coming out. This is a great way, again, to make sure we get information out to all of the residents of the 14th district. Even if you don't live in the 14th district, hear about what some of the things that are coming in through Lake County Board. Hope to see you guys at my next coffee event, along with my next Facebook Live town hall that we just had. So we will have that more information on my Facebook and also on my website. Also in the link there will be, or in the event page, there is a link to sign up to my official newsletter as well, so you can get more up-to-date information for something that's going over at Greenbelt, all the way up to what's going on at the courts, or something as simple as when your assessment is due. So I appreciate you all joining me this evening, and thank you again.